Support for these videos are made possible from a building capacity grant and by the cooperation of public and private partnerships in Macoupin County. Today off camera we have a young man, Tyler, that has firsthand experience with synthetic drugs. I'm going to start by asking Tyler how synthetic drugs have impacted his life and the life of his family.
It makes you angry, less like yourself, I would say. It changes the way you think about everything, people, your friends, family. You don't really hang around with the same people you did because you just feel different. You seem more comfortable around the people who do it with you. It's more of a good feeling that you have someone else who does it good around you. Makes you feel more comfortable. And it's changed my school life by my grades have dropped dramatically since the beginning of the year. It's changed my family life. I'm not around my parents as much as I'd like. I don't see my brother ever, really. I was too busy with drugs.
We have a group of experts today that are going to talk about this and hopefully have solutions and conversations for other parents. Paul, let me start out by saying, what are synthetic drugs?
Synthetic drugs come in two different major forms, either synthetic marijuana or synthetic stimulants. The stimulant part is resembling that of cocaine, methamphetamine, and other versions of stimulants. The marijuana comes under the name of Spice, K2, and many other names. You will see it being used by youth. We've seen people coming into our health department as young as middle school students, all the way up through adults and older adults as well. But what we see at the health department, we see a lot of youth and young adults, college-age students using it.
State's Attorney Watson, there's some confusion whether or not these are legal products or not.
There are federally banned chemicals in these synthetic drugs. In addition to that, Illinois State has banned certain chemicals that are found in these synthetic drugs. And now local cities and counties have passed ordinances in order to ban these products as well.
And Macoupin County came out with a pretty bold step in passing an ordinance specific to synthetic drugs recently.
Yes, that's correct. The Macoupin County ordinance is a broad ordinance in the fact that synthetic drugs are man-made drugs and they use different chemical compounds. And what we're typically finding is that when a particular compound is put on the list as being a banned compound, a controlled substance, then the makers of these products will use some other compound.
Sure. Problematic or just passing phase?
Big problem. And at this point, I believe we're addressing educators, and I would address educators very similar to parents. You know, when those kids are interested in your care, you're their parent for the day, and treat them just like they were your own. And don't be oblivious to what's going on around you. Look for the telltale signs. Like Tyler said, you'll see a good student slide off into being a bad student. Different people around them. It's a big problem. And the sooner that the parents and educators and everybody involved handle it, better off we're all going to be.
Brian, parent, you know that these drugs are out. Mm-hmm. Where are students typically looking to find synthetic drugs?
Well, initially they were sold in convenience stores, at gas stations, and tobacco smoke shops. If they weren't 18, it was easy enough for someone who was 18 to go in and buy it for them. And oddly enough, that's a manufacturer imposed age limit. Of course, now it's all legal. Now that it is legal, that there are laws in place and people are starting to take notice, they're not so much at the convenience stores, gas stations, at the tobacco shops anymore. They're being sold on the internet to people who you wouldn't normally think of as drug dealers, but that's exactly what they are. I mean, these are usually more affluent kids, or can be more affluent kids who have good technological skills and capacity to get that stuff into their hands and out into other people in the community. This isn't, there's no socioeconomic limit on this. It's not picking and choosing who it's going to affect by age, race, color, economic status. It's across the board. Kids of all upbringing and situation.
There's been some conversation manufacturers are actually targeting children through their marketing. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Packaging doesn't lie. I mean, they're cartoon characters, colorful packaging, and references to popular TV shows that are that have the demographic of the young teen, adolescent, young adult.
Your message to educators, teachers, counselors, nurses, principals. What do you say to that?
I believe, they all have a lot on their plate as far as everything that they need to do for their criteria for the school and the state. But if the kid is addicted to drugs, they're not going to be able to get to those things as well. So we need to make this a number one priority as well, helping to pull in drug education into your curriculum. Bring that into your everyday curriculum so that way the kids are hearing it more often about the dangers and side effects of these drugs in different avenues of their life. And maybe that will help to message across to more youth and make yourself more aware and educated about the symptoms so that you can identify when a youth is in your classroom who might be using, and don't be afraid to approach them or the parent about the change in their behavior and, address the problem.
Attorney Watson, your message to educators?
I'd say that if you see this sort of thing in your school, this packaging that we're showing you, make sure that you call law enforcement right away. It is a serious problem. We're seeing it more and more. It is targeted towards teenagers and young adults, and it very well could be in your schools.
Sheriff?
To educators, be a guiding light to the students. You can be their friend. You're going to have to be their friend to get some information from them, but you're also going to have to give some guidance and be a person they can go to if they need help, and you recognize any symptoms of this addiction.
Right.
I agree wholeheartedly. Friend these kids, you have to. That's one of the biggest issues that we had in dealing this in our own is that the schools weren't prepared to deal with it. As you develop your policies, make sure that you keep the parents in mind that these kids come from families, and whether they're having trouble with their parents or social issues or they're just thrill seekers, there's something going on in your policies. Develop something that just doesn't throw them out on the streets or in the homes that they might be having trouble in, or into the environment that's causing them pain. But or even if they're just thrill seekers, refer them to somebody who's going to be able to sort that out and give them guidance and counseling that they need. But most importantly, remember that your educators, academics, and athletic achievement mean nothing if you're losing students along the way.